Hello and welcome back to Coral Regs in Depth. Today we're going to be taking a look at Rule 17, which is the action by the stand-on vessel. As always, we're going to be looking at the rule itself and applying it in various situations. So Rule 17 is action by stand-on vessel. Let's dive straight into the first paragraph. Where one of two vessels is to keep out of the way, the other shall keep her course and speed. So what does this actually mean? In this diagram we're going to place ourselves on the red vessel and we're going to be approaching the white vessel. I'm going to use the same diagram to explain this rule in full, so we'll keep coming back to this one, and it's safe to assume that risk of collision exists. We've already monitored and determined we're on a constant bearing. So in this situation it's a crossing situation, and as the two vessels are approaching each other, the red vessel is the stand-on vessel. So according to the first part of Rule 17, she needs to maintain her course and speed. But then the second part of the rule goes on to say, the latter vessel may, however, take action to avoid collision by her manoeuvre alone as soon as it becomes apparent to her that the vessel required to keep out of the way is not taking appropriate action in compliance with these rules. So this basically means the latter vessel being the stand-on vessel, she may take action as soon as it becomes apparent. I'm going to go straight on to the next paragraph because then I can show them both in the same diagram. When from any cause the vessel required to keep her course and speed finds herself so close that collision cannot be avoided by the action of the give-way vessel alone, she shall take such action as will best aid to avoid collision. So this paragraph basically says the stand-on vessel must take action as soon as the action of the give-way vessel alone is not going to be enough. So let's have a look at these two paragraphs in the diagram. So in this diagram, again we're on the red vessel still, so we're the stand-on vessel, and I'm expecting the white vessel to take action. Once we get to this point here, I expect her to have taken action by now. In the previous rule we said that she needs to take early and effective action to stay well clear. So, in my view, she hasn't taken early action, so she's not in compliance with the rules. So at this point, I may take action to avoid collision by my manoeuvre alone. However, for this example, I'm just going to carry on. So we're going to continue on our route, and now we're getting ever closer, and I'm even more twitchy now, because at this point I know whatever action the white vessel takes is not going to be enough to avoid collision. She comes right round to starboard, as so she's still going to hit us. At this point I must take whatever action will best aid to avoid collision. This particular example, I might, for example, kick my stern out to starboard to give her a little bit more space. Once you're so close that the give-way vessel alone cannot avoid collision, that is when you must take action. At the first point where it's apparent to you that she's not, that is when you may take action. Then we go on to paragraph C, which says a power-driven vessel which takes action in a crossing situation in accordance with subparagraph A2, which is at the point where she may take action, remember. If the circumstances of the case admit, she shall not alter course to port for a vessel on her own port side. The best example is explaining why she must not do this. Let's have a look. Okay, so we're approaching each other now. We know risk of collision exists. I'm expecting the white vessel to take action. Once we get to this point, I may take action to avoid collision by my manoeuvre alone, but I don't know whether this is the place where the white vessel was always planning to turn, whether this is her designated closest point that she needs to take action. So, if I did come round to port, and it was where she was due to take action, she has come round to starboard, I have come round to port, and we're going to hit each other bow to bow. If we come back, what action could we take? Well, we can actually do whatever we like. The rule just says we can't come around to port for a vessel on our own port side. So probably the best bet is to come round to starboard. If she also comes round to starboard, you can see there's no risk of collision now. And if she'd have maintained her course and speed, we would have just been paralleling along her previous track. Again, there would have been no risk of collision. Once we've got no risk of collision, we've got all the time in the world to decide what to do next. And then the final paragraph of the rule just says this rule does not relieve the give-way vessel of her obligation to keep out of the way. This is kind of the stating the obvious bit of the rule. You cannot say, oh well, Rule 17 said stand-on had to take action, so I didn't alter course. No, this specifically says if you're the give-way vessel, you have to keep out of the way, despite what Rule 17 says. And that brings us to the end of Rule 17. Hopefully you found this information useful. If you have, a thumbs up is always appreciated. Next time round we'll be hitting one of the other rules that we haven't covered yet. So until next time, take care and goodbye.